Hey Virgos, how y'all doing? Welcome. We're going to be taking a look at your first half of December general reading here. And in your meditation, I saw an image of the Hermit Key, which is y'all's energy being Virgos, from the Leeza Robertson Animal Totem Tarot, which is I believe it's a praying mantis. So I saw that image and I saw the praying mantis kind of like, it's a bit graphic, but just go with me here, kind of peel back its own skin, and from it emerged an earthworm. So it was kind of like an earthworm that had been wearing a praying mantis costume or suit. And I saw this earthworm kind of, move its way down. It was, the praying mantis is on a tree in that card. So it dropped down from the tree and I saw it just moving along, crawling along like earthworms do. And I saw it go through different seasons and different, it was like raining at one point, then the sun came out, then it rained again, then it would just go through all these seasons. And then I saw it get to a certain point and it stopped and it curled up and it created a spiral. And then that was the meditation. What I'm getting from this, it feels very auspicious. What I get from this is that I feel like you are coming to the end of some sort, like a completion point of a given cycle. I don't think you're completely aware because it feels like there's a surprise or an unknown element of it that feels really nice. This ending of a cycle and before something new comes in that is going to very much shift your circumstances, and I mean your physical circumstances, right? It also can shift, your state of mind and your, all of those other things. But I'm talking about primarily a shift in your physical reality in a good way, in a, significant way, but in a good way. Earthworm energy is very much about, when we think about earthworms, they come out after the storm, right? So it just feels like there's like a feeling of like, a calm, like after some sort of stormy season or given cycle. And I have to tell you, I very rarely kind of take things to the most literal point and just go, yeah, it's that this is the specific thing around this. But I'm getting for some of you guys that it's significant in the way. There are some of you who have been single for a while, and that is about to change. So I hope you've enjoyed being single and just, really live that up, because it feels like something is shifting around that. It feels like those of you who have been in a living situation that wasn't ideal in some way, shape, or form, you're moving, or something is shifting around the living situation that is going to transform it into something very positive or an upgrade of some sort. If you've been at a job that you feel like either doesn't pay you enough or doesn't like, or if you love your job, but it just doesn't, feel like you're able to really like find the abundance you want. There's a shift coming around that. It really feels like it's that kind of major, like that significant, and I do feel this energy coming through as well, where it's like that earthworm just being a very sensitive, new start. It's earthworm is fool's energy, right? It's fool energy slash page of pentacles. So that's why I say like it feels like a real change in the physical circumstances for the better, and a new start around something. It's like you're going to be in a very different position. I can see like an airplane flying from like one side of a map to another. It's like you've been on a certain journey. I'm hearing the last 7 years. A lot of the time cycles, especially in astrology, will equate to 7 years. I'm hearing look at the past 7 years, look at where you were 7 years ago, and then look at this time now, and I'm feeling through the end of this year for you as beginning a new cycle. So think, where was I 7 years ago? What has the journey of the last 7 years been? And then going forward from here, if it were a new cycle, what would that feel like? What areas of my life might that take form? So it's very exciting, Virgo. Like, I'm like, okay, okay, everything's gonna change like in a really good way. Like, okay, but yeah, the last 7 years feels significant for you, okay? With that being said, let's go ahead and see what your cards say. Hey Virgos, let's go ahead and see what your animal energy is for the first half of December. What's going on for Virgos? What's going on? Oh, it's so perfect. The cosmic egg. Listen, this is the world in the tarot. which is the completion, successful completion of a cycle, finishing out one thing before beginning another and feeling really good about the change. You cannot make this up. It's literally a snake, which is a symbol of transformation and change, shedding of the skin. Like I saw the praying mantis shed its skin and become an earthworm, literally around this sphere, which this is technically, I don't think many people know this, but this here is based off an illustration by Jacob Bryant. It's from the late 1700s. I found it in an old alchemical textbook like years ago. And then it popped up here in this deck like later on. I thought, oh, okay. It's a very popular symbol, but not a lot of people know its roots. So this originally, Jacob Bryant said that this was the symbol of the birth of the philosopher, which makes a lot of sense to me because hermit energy, like we saw it in the, with the opening key there of that praying mantis, Virgo, that's brilliant because Virgo energy, hermit energy is very much about, those questions and those details and really using the mind. You guys are the most airy of the earth signs. You guys have a sharp mind, honey. You know how to use it. You know which questions to ask. You know what potentialities to plan for. You are able to see things through a scope that is just bordering on and even not bordering on, like genius. And it just is. It's you have an eye. You just have an eye. You have a vision. You have a way of seeing things. So the fact that this is coming through this way is the birth of the philosopher for you. And we're talking about like a brand new cycle. This just feels so incredibly positive. This is like victory, achievement, job well done. You're ready to graduate to the next. When you see this here as well, this circle represents that of spirit, which it's not just a major arcana coming through for you. This is the even one step above that. This is like a divine aspect of your path where you've completed something before something else begins. Virgo, this is one of those readings. Feels really good. Right, let's see what's going on. Oh God. Yo, you can't make it up though. This is why it just never gets old. The Hermit. Hello, goodbye. Hello again. The Hermit, it's you. We were talking about this, right? You know what's interesting as well is if you see there's like a beetle there. There's a beetle there. So beetles are symbols of regeneration and new cycles as well. So it's just it is reading. All over it. Yeah, do you see how this guy here is holding that magnifying glass? We were just talking about the eyes, the vision of Virgos, your ability to see something. There is really something about this reading and I'm all the way here for it. You know what I'm getting from this as well? When people say I want a job where I have a Virgo friend, best friend, who will always say to me, he's a very hard worker, but he always says to me, where's that job of the passive income where I can literally work on a beach somewhere from my laptop? That's what I'm looking for. And the fact that this is coming up in this way, and we were talking about, a job situation or some sort of reality that is not working or could be improved upon in some way, really undergoing a big shift. And then we have this popping up. I think it's a brilliant sign to get very intentional about what that is. And then, kind of open up your mind to that potentiality so that you are able to identify it when it comes. Although, to be quite honest with you, I think it's going to be impossible not to recognize this when it comes. It's going to be quite significant and physicalized. But there's something about this, even with the sun setting in the background, I'm telling you, where were you 7 years ago? And then now is the completion of that 7-year cycle and you're starting a new one. Oh, God. The Wheel of Fortune. Really, Virgo? You got another beetle. The Wheel of Fortune is things turning in your favor. Good luck, good fortune, you getting what you want, and things happening seemingly by magic. Hello. Hello. We talked about this with things happening and physicalizing for you, and this is just further affirmation of that, and I'm here for it. It's really beautiful. This is so major, and you've got 4 major arcanas here. It's all majors. Major arcanas denote destined or fated events. I am looking at, really, this is like a karmic destiny point. I'm so here for it. Hierophant, hello. You know, number of change here. It's interesting with the Hierophant because it's Taurus energy, it's your fellow earth signs energy, but it's also representative of, it represents, you know, structure, tradition, marriage, contracts, things, you know, going a certain way and not necessarily deviating from said structure, right? Now that can feel a bit oppressive to some. It can feel a bit like, oh God, like, can we change it up a bit? Is this is how we've always done it really the best way to think about things? But in this context, and why I find the Hierophant such a comforting energy, is that it's a way of saying that there's no mess ups. You cannot mess this up. You are on your right path and there's no deviation from it. This is a soul marker point. It's a karmic marker point, and everything that's happening with and for you is in your highest and best good. So get yourself a seaweed wrap and, you know, moisturize that skin, honey, because you're going to need it for like the next cycle. It's interesting as well with the mummy being depicted here as well. And we're talking about, you know, transition and the afterlife and mummies and preserving it and going into a new, it's really, really fascinating here. And then we have the pyramid in the background, which also connects back to like soul cycle, karmic destiny. It's really fascinating, Virgo. Like I said, this is just one of those readings. It's really fascinating. Really, really fascinating. You know, I'm really drawn to this. Looks like a shield to me, like something stuck in it. Like you were holding up a shield and it made impact and something was, you know, like coming at you, and then you were able to like set it down and then just feel safe enough to go in and like kind of wind down. It's interesting. I feel like this is commenting on those of you who in the past 7 years or even, you know, more recently have felt like, maybe not like you're on an actual battleground, but it felt like you have been tested and tried and kind of through the heat and the thick of things. And it's getting to a point where you can kind of lay those shields down, kind of lay it down and really go into a place of like regeneration. It feels really nice. Why do I say like, of course like the only way that a Virgo is truly going to relax and let go is when they're mummified. I'm not trying to be shady, Virgo. It's one of those things where it's like you really, there's a light and a shadow to everything. And on the light side, I've talked about that already with you being able to see things in a particular way. It's that's your superpower. The shadow energy though is maybe not always knowing when or how to turn it off, which if you think about, you know, well, why can't I be on the beach on my laptop? Well, is there an aspect of you, whatever that equivalent is for you, that maybe doesn't even know that, what that would be like, and so you're more comfortable with having to work really hard to get anywhere? So because you're more comfortable and you know that, you keep drawing that in because you can't really even imagine what it would be like to have an ease-filled experience in any way. Something to think about. Okay. Another way of saying that is, whatever your version of working on the beach is, would you even know what to do with yourself on said beach? What are you gonna do when the sand gets in your laptop or someone splashes some water on it, right? The issue is not the beach. The issue is the work that you're doing. And why is the work that you're doing feeling like such a struggle or you know, something that you don't enjoy to the point where you feel the need to be on the beach in order to do it? That's the question, whatever that equivalent is for you, okay? All right, let's get some advice. Let's get some advice. Yes! Look what's on the bottom there. Look at that. That's what I saw in your meditation. Hello. Yes, okay. Knight of Wands. You know, fire energy, transformation. It's interesting because your advice is the only minor arcana we see here, and that's another shield. What I was just talking about. So Knight of Wands, this is fast, forward-moving energy. When this comes up as your advice, you know, it's usually about just trusting your instinct and your passion, trusting that the way is unencumbered and clear, and just move forward. Don't overthink it, right? Just connect to your instincts and go for it. There are some people who would get this, in reverse and go, okay, you need to think about it a little bit more before, but you are earth signs. You are the Knight of Pentacles by nature. You are not going to go anywhere until you have it completely right? So moving forward as the Knight of Wands is like, get out of your head and into your instinct about it and blaze the trail ahead. But remember, the Wands are about the work that you love to do, right? And the actions that you do or don't take concerning that work. So if that's the case, we're talking about a big change in your reality, your relationships too. It's anything that makes you really passionate. So if we're looking at this in terms of like things shifting and turning for you and it's a brand new cycle, and then your advice is to approach this new cycle from a Knight of Wands perspective, you're being asked to take off that Knight of Pentacles armor and change it over to the Knight of Wands and see how fire can serve you. See how allowing your instincts to lead you and leaving your, other aspects of how you might normally go about things from a thinking perspective or an, analytical perspective, like behind, right? Because the path is unencumbered, right? But I'm really drawn to this ostrich's shadow here, right? It's interesting how this is coming about. And I really feel like this is like, are you going to take aspects of, what things have been for you and carry them into this newness? Or are you really ready to embrace this new cycle and not have to relearn lessons from the previous one? There's no right or wrong to this, which is why I feel like this is a minor arcana as your advice, right? Because people are going to approach this different ways, but there are big changes coming. And just know that it's a part of your soul timing. It's like you've hit the marker in the Akashic record where it's like, okay, that's done. Time for this, right? And you have options around that, around how you react and deal with these changes coming your way. They're beautiful things. It's all good, but it's also change. We are not as humans like naturally comfortable with that. So there's going to be inherent challenges in that anyway. It's just like when they say like, be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. Have you ever thought about what is the root of that? How does that even make sense? It's because like getting what you want can be just as scary as not getting it. Because I'm having really strong deja vu, by the way, which doesn't always happen when I'm doing these. That's a sign that you are, where you're meant to be. It's timelines converging. So you might also be having some deja vu going through here. When you do, if you do, use that, or synchronicities as well. Use that as a sign and a marker to affirm what you're seeing here, right? It just feels that way. This just feels like a little extra like magic juice on this one. But truly wish fulfillment, there's a shadow to it and a light to it. So sometimes we can be more attached to the shadows of things because we're a lot more familiar with that. Okay, let's get some advice. But it doesn't mean we have to remain because it's all about choices. Oh, hello. I look beyond the facade. Interesting. Instincts, attention. Was I not just saying that your advice as Knight of Wands is to connect into your instincts and allow them to move you forward? Hello. Then we have links in the third eye. Third eye is clairvoyance, vision. It's actually this indigo color of the night sky. Well, you can see it here as well. It's interesting. I look beyond the facade. We were just talking about how your superpower is your ability to see things, right? So looking beyond that facade takes on like a deeper meaning. But Link's energy is very much about secrets and things that aren't spoken out loud. So when Link's energy comes up, it's a bit of a note to go, okay, there's something that I'm missing here. There's something that is escaping my vision. And I feel like for you guys, that makes a heck of a lot of sense because it does feel like there's a very particular skewed, based around your previous experiences, and you're being asked to really just like let a lot of that go in terms of, and I feel like the context is what you expect for yourself and what it is that you truly, truly want. Do you really want to be on that beach? Or do you really want to be in an office just doing a different job? Really question that. Or do you really want to be on that beach just not doing that job at all, doing something completely else that doesn't involve having electrical equipment like near water, right? Right? So whatever that is for you, I feel like you're being asked to really like look within yourself and like, see the clarity behind it. The stories that we tell ourselves can be very, very powerful, right? So it's always good to check our stories, the narratives that we tell ourselves and our thoughts that we think, because thoughts truly are things and they pave the way to, what we think about. It's another way of saying, like that cliche, like what you think about, you bring about. Well, it's true. True, it's a cliche for a reason. So Virgo, this was one of those readings. This was a thrill and a joy. So thank you for coming with this kind of energy. With that being said, thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate you. I hope that this helps and resonates. If so, let me know in the comments below. I love reading your comments. And with that being said, just thank you. Thank you so much for being here. And most of all, and as always, just thank you for being you. And be well. Until next time.